But let's focus on the man of the moment, President-elect Donald Trump. Oh, did I remind you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, did you forget? Say what you will about him, but you cannot deny the man knows how to throw a punch, which shouldn't be a surprise because with his fists, there's very little wind resistance. They just, you know. He's basically bullied all of his critics. He forcibly renamed his political rivals, and he even called the New York Times the failing New York Times so much that they finally just went with it. But for Trump, those were just small fry. You see, he's always had his sights set on a much larger enemy.
I always hate that I have to have my ties made in China.
We can't continue to allow China to rape our country. China is ripping us off.
They're taking our jobs.
We want deal.
China. China.
China. China.
China. Quick question, how are you going to fight a country when you can't even pronounce their name? China. China. It doesn't sound like a country. It sounds like a toddler who just learned the name of her private parts. That's what it sounds like. China. 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 That's where my ties come from. And by the way, why do Donald Trump's suits fit so poorly? Like, he's talking about all these clothes made in China. I don't understand why they fit like this. They're made for you and by you. Why would they fit so badly? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if his suits fit like that because he exaggerates his measurements to his tailors. No, my arm is this long. It's this long. It doesn't make sense. Now, since the 80s, Trump has been itching to pick a fight with China. And even though it's still 44 days before he officially takes office, he's already starting.
In an unprecedented move, Trump took a call from Taiwan's president, which broke more than 3 decades of diplomatic tradition.
Some foreign policy experts calling it a foreign policy blunder.
His phone call with Taiwan's president touched off something of a weekend diplomatic firestorm with China and broke decades of presidential protocol.
Yep. Once again, Donald Trump breaks protocol, which is basically his specialty. Because since Nixon, all American presidents have publicly regarded Taiwan as being a part of China. But not Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump, he treats protocol like the Kool-Aid man treats walls.
I think there are a lot of questions going forward about what Donald Trump's policy towards China will be.
It took decades to develop the ground on which we talk to China. And Donald Trump tore it up today.
If I were China right now, I would have no idea what's going on, and I'm not 100% sure Trump does either.
Nobody knows what Trump's plan is. He's just that kind of guy. He wakes up and he's like, who said that? Me? Oh, okay. Because nobody knows if he has a plan. This could be a blunder, or it could be his opening chess move. Or actually, it's too complicated. Maybe his opening checkers move. No, I'm sorry. His opening hungry hippos move. That looks right. Now look, the presidents of the United... There's a lot more skill in that game than you think. Now look, the president of the United States has the right to determine America's policy toward China. I don't deny that. What's worrying is that Donald Trump doesn't seem to know which direction he's shifting it, or even how he's shifting it. Because now, Trump is positioning his Taiwan call as taking an aggressive stance against China. But when the story first broke, Trump implied in a tweet that he didn't plan it. He said he spoke to the president of Taiwan because she called him out of the blue, which is even more frightening. How are people able to call the president of the United States randomly? And also, if that's the case, why is he answering random calls? This is president-elect of the United States. It's just like, ring, ring. And he's like, oh, that could be a world leader or my Uber calling. Hold on. Yes, this is Donald. Hello, Donald. This is Tsai Ing-wen from Taiwan. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm waving. Is that you in the Camry? Is that you? Who is this man? And this is why everybody's freaking out. Because it doesn't look like Trump knows what he's doing. And China's relationship with Taiwan is too tricky to not know what you're doing. You see, just like Dwayne Johnson wasn't always The Rock, China wasn't always communist. And after its communist revolution in 1949, all anti-communists fled to Taiwan and declared themselves independent from China. That's how it all started, which China vehemently rejects. In fact, in Shanghai's English language bookstores, they actually unwrap new English dictionaries and they rip out the page that has the entry for Taiwan. That's how seriously they take it in China. which is not just censorship. I mean, that's some crazy ex-lover behavior. Because you realize when you rip out a page of a dictionary, you're not just losing Taiwan, you're losing all the other words that have T around it. Like the word taken is on the same page as Taiwan. Taken is gone. That would explain why Liam Neeson's movies flopped in China. They probably had no meaning. They probably had to redub all of his lines. He was like, what? My daughter's been gotten? But that's how China rolls. And because America tries to respect both China and Taiwan, their relationship ends up being complicated.
Ever since Nixon's visit to China in 1972, the U.S. has had a one-China policy, recognizing only one of the two countries that call themselves China.
Recognizing Taiwan through defense contracts and informal contacts, but not as a separate government with its own diplomatic standing.
Trump tweeted, "Interesting how the U.S. sells Taiwan billions of dollars of military equipment, but I should not accept a congratulatory call."
It is weird that China accepts America selling weapons to Taiwan, but will not stand for a phone call. That is weird. But it's a weird thing that you have to respect, because it's a matter of respect. It's sort of like when you go to visit your grandma. Out of respect, you and your girlfriend sleep in separate rooms. Yeah. She knows that you're together, but you just act like it's not happening. But Donald Trump, he doesn't do respect. He doesn't play protocol. When he's at grandma's, he bigly. And the crazy thing is, we have to get involved. Now, we're reading up. Do you understand how strange that is, by the way? We are reading up on China because we're afraid that the President of the United States doesn't know what he's doing. We're like, all right, we're going to read up just in case, Donald. Because look, no one's ever messed with China like this before. No one really knows what the ramifications will be. It may be nothing, or it could lead to a war. Or maybe China tries to hurt America's economy by stopping all trade. These are all really bad outcomes, really bad. I will say this, though. If a trade war means we don't have to see him in one of those suits anymore, then maybe it was all worth it. Hey there, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, click here to subscribe. Just keep the mouse pointer away from my face, please. Don't, here, click here to, not my face, click here, please. Please, that looks, don't do that, that's sharp. Click here to subscribe.